I'm Leanne Wood, and I'm host of the KBIS Next Stage. Thank you all for joining us. And if you were just here for Gwyneth Paltrow, it was really amazing. It was really cool to see her. Gwyneth Paltrow, who runs her own business just like many of us. And like Gwyneth, anyone who has their own business, those designers in the audience right now, knows that you wear many, many hats. And before we bring on the next panel titled Work It, I'll introduce them. These ladies are on a panel called Work It because they work it every day, and they're awesome, and I know you're all excited about seeing them. Today's panel is about embracing the technology and alternative thinking that has emerged to not only enhance your traditional practice, but develop new income streams. It's the silver lining for your bottom line. And you're going to hear from the experts who have adapted and thrived, and they're going to share their ups and downs on the way to success. I would like to bring to this stage the moderator, Luann Nagara, podcast host, speaker, and author. Luann. I'd also like to introduce Breegan Jane, designer, entrepreneur, and lifestyle expert. Welcome, Breegan. And next is Claire Jefford. Claire and I actually live about 2 kilometers from each other in Canada, so I get to see her. Claire is a certified interior decorator, business coach, and speaker, and her firm is called Claire Jefford, Inc. And then, because of the times we're living in, we are going to, just like Gwyneth, we are going to bring in Jenna, and her last name, I always mess it up, Gaduzik, founder and CEO of E-Design Tribe. Hi, Jenna.
Hi.
Okay, I think we're good. I just wanted to make sure that the Zoom was working. Luann, take it away.
All right, Leanne, thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today. We're very excited. Poor baby Jenna. We're sending you white light, healing energy. Get better, okay? All right, so let's pick this apart. So what I would love to do is, first I'm going to ask each of these ladies to just give a little bit more introduction to themselves, who they are, where their business is located, and what their alternative revenue stream is. Because that's what we're here to talk about today, right? We're here to talk about the other ways as a professional interior designer that you can make some money for yourself, be successful, and be profitable, right? So, Breegan, do you want to get us started, introduce yourself, and do all the things?
Thank you so much for having me. It's always fun to chat with you. I'm Breegan Jane, and I have a design firm based out of Santa Monica, California. You may also know me from HGTV. I get to do my talent on TV, which is amazing. And I think today I'd really like to talk about my profile on the expert and how that has helped me do exactly what we're doing today, pivoting to reaching more people through virtual options.
Okay, I love it. I love it. I love it. Claire, go ahead. Tell us a little bit about you and your alternative revenue streams.
Thank you, Luann. So I'm Claire Jefford, and I'm based outside of Toronto, Ontario in Canada. Very happy to be here in the warmer climates. And so I've been in my business since 2011. I run a design firm mainly for residential, and started doing business coaching as well in 2016. And my alternate revenue streams really in my local business are doing consulting-only services. But we still do full-service design, but I'm just going to share with you today some information on the different models for just consulting only and how you can make some pretty good money at that.
Love it. Love it. Oh, no, that's not me. Nope, not me. Not the girl with the slides. Somebody else can do it.
We'll hold it. I think we hold them.
You give it to anybody but me.
We might have slides.
Because you'll be like, switch the slide, Lou. And I'll be like, what slide? Nope. Okay, Jenna, tell us a little bit about your business, sweetie.
Okay. Hi, I'm Jenna. I am now based in Gainesville, Florida, and soon to be Charleston, South Carolina. I work virtually, so this is a bit ironic that I'm coming to you all virtually today. And I teach other designers how to also work virtually and how to add different business models into their revenue streams, and how to work hybrid as well as just completely online in their business models.
Okay, so we have the lay of the land here, right? So Breegan is Bregan. She's got TV, she's got the expert, she's got all the things going on. We're going to pick apart the expert today, okay? And then we have Claire, who, while she does full service interior design, also has sliced up her ladder, her Nancy G ladder of services, to just put it into tiny slices that people can take what they want from, right? Which is a lot of for full service interior designers would think that maybe they shouldn't do that. And then we have Jenna, who is herself virtual designing and teaching designers to virtual design. So 3 very different business models, all right? And so what we're going to do is we're going to have these ladies explain to us how they do it, how they make money on it. And here is the huge aha. You may not agree with each of these ladies. How about that? You may not really like one of the ways that they do it. How about that? That's okay. There's enough for everybody to do them, right? Okay. So, Bregan, tell us a little bit about the expert. It's sort of new-ish, right?
Yeah, I think it's very new. And what it is a platform for designers to connect with homeowners. And I think that finding a designer from the other side of it is always an intimidating process because you really are giving people the most important piece of your house. And so we always go through this sort of courtship in really getting to know each other, which often takes a lot of time to build that relationship, right? And a lot of it is able basically based on where you're based, right? I can service people in Los Angeles because they're there. I can get to know you. I can come to your home. If you are on the East Coast, it's a little bit harder for you to reach me. So one of the things I love is that in 2020, my business boomed. And I think it's because I love what I do truly and wholeheartedly. Everybody was at home. They finally, like every cousin, every aunt, every friend of a friend was like, Bregan, I'm stuck in my house. What do I do? And I was like, here's a camera. I'm going to get in front of it, and I'm going to give you my wholehearted 10 years of knowledge in 10 minutes. So the expert, it allows you to sign up for half an hour or an hour. And you basically fully get me and all my expertise without the pressure of hiring me to do your full job. Right? It's an easy entrance way for us to get to know each other, but also for me to just really go, hey, turn the camera that way. Oh, you should do that over there. I think you should do that over there. I get out my pen. I can sketch. Jenna, I'm sure you do a little bit of the same in the virtual world, but it's really nice to be able to enter homes globally in a way that my business was very structured around locally in the past.
Okay. So how many of you here are actually already familiar with this expert platform? So I need hands a little higher just because I want to have an understanding. So most of us in the room have not heard about the expert platform. Now, I, of course, needed to be a little bit ready for this today, right? So I went and looked at it. And what I saw was that, for instance, I noticed that you were on it. Amber Lewis is on it. Kelly Wursler is on it. Okay, so what I'm not understanding is, do you take it further than that half-hour video conference? Is it just my best ideas, like you're sitting right here on this stage and you'd be like, move that wall, do this, blah, blah, blah? Is there an opportunity for the end consumer to then take it to a next level and hire you beyond that, or no?
Yeah, because it's all about relationship building, right? So you can start out with a half an hour session and then go into an hour or 2 hours. But a lot of us who are doing design both on TV, in real life, somebody like Kelly Wursler who might feel untouchable to call her office and ask for an appointment with her. It might be difficult, but in this instance, you're able to reach people, build a relationship with them first, and I think for the homeowner, without the pressure of being like, am I really going to give this designer my whole bedroom? I'm not sure she understands me yet. So it's a safe place for both of us to online date.
Okay. And we are going to have Q&A time. So if you have particular questions about things that come up, make a note and make sure we get a chance to bring those out, okay? All right. So, Claire, tell us about your alternative revenue stream in more detail. You have the full service design, but what's the deal that you do on the side there, or the other level?
Yeah, sure. So when I first started this business, which was, as I mentioned, in 2011, I really just wanted to do design, decorate it, like in any way that I could, just get in people's houses. And I knew if I got the foot in the door, and I'm a bit of a talker like you, Luann, so, I can, kind of sell my way into certain things. And so I started offering this service that at the time I was calling designer by your side. No, at the time I was calling it, as and when you need me. And it was great. And I just like Luann prefaced this earlier, like, you may not agree with how we work. Different people work at different things. I always say you do you. I got a lot of side eyes when I started doing this sort of service, and, other designers thinking, are you really a designer? And I'm actually a certified decorator. But, you get into the houses, you start doing different things. And so... but I really loved it. And I love meeting people. I'm a people person. And I wanted to help people. I still do in any way that I can love their home. If I can make it a little bit better, a little bit more enjoyable, more beautiful, obviously, but in any way. So sometimes we do just one-off consultation services, just a 2-hour initial consultation. We have a process, a very steep process from the start. And we want to make sure that when I come, if it's just a 2-hour consultation, then I want to make sure that I'm bringing as much value as I can. And so I'll bring samples and anything really that's related to their, whatever their problem is. And so the other service that we offer is this designer, I call it now designer by your side. And I just like that better too. I feel like I'm by your side. I'm not on call. I'm not here at 2 a.m. when you have a problem, right? And so, and that really got my foot in the door, like I said, and it's been a fabulous service to, like, if I just do, we started at 20-hour minimum. That's what I would recommend, because I used to do 5. You can't do anything in 5 hours, not like an ongoing and order anything or, even measure anything up, sort of, by the time you start going, the 5 hours is gone. So I recommend anyone do 20-hour minimum on this, and we charge $225 an hour, and it's a minimum of, do the math. Luann, you're not good with math either. No, okay. Well, it's over 4,000. And then the client is, we help them. We're by their side. If they need us for site meetings. I've got clients who hire us. They have a kitchen company. I find this a little ironic, but they have a kitchen company that they've hired, to do the work, but they want a designer. They may not like the kitchen designer that's there, or maybe they don't have one available. I'm not sure all the time. And so we come in and I'll go to site visits, and I'll go to the kitchen company, and meet with the clients. I don't try to redesign the kitchen. I'm there to help them pick their finishes, countertops, backsplashes, paint colors, hardware, grout, even, like every little detail. And so, and then over time, we just get more and more, we get bigger jobs, right? And then they're hiring us later for the full service, because like what Bregan said, like it takes a little while sometimes to gain that trust. And so once they have us in their house and they see what we've done, a little bit here, a little bit there, then they're like, you know what? We need our basement done next, or we need the ensuite done. And so it's a great way to segue into that.
So there's a little synergy here, right? Because you're doing it virtually as a consultation. You're doing it in person, but basically it's consultative. The whole thing is pay for consultation, pay for advice, as opposed to, are you sourcing for the clients on the expert, or are you just giving the advice on get a sofa that's 6 feet and the same? You know what I mean?
I think for me, the main part of the first consultation really is led by how the user wants to use my time. It really is up to them what kind of knowledge they're going through. And what I like about the expert is there's places for them to fill out what they're looking for, what they can send me pictures of their room, and that's all an integrated part of that whole profile that I don't have to take on or build as a designer myself. So it's a communication tool, and then I've been used many different ways. Like you said, sometimes it's an existing kitchen project where they're just like, I don't know which countertop to pick. And sometimes it's a lot more layout based. We're walking around the room, we're having fun.
Okay. And on the expert, for example, I mentioned you and the other iconic celebrity designers like yourself, but there are, like the regular people on the expert as well, right? So, I mean, I noticed some are $225 an hour and some are $4,200 an hour. So it's not just for the elite design.
I think it takes away a part of that intimidation. interior designers can be a big expense for a homeowner, and they're not quite sure what they can afford or how they can afford it. So it gives you that approachability to pick the person without having to call everyone, ask their rates. You can just kind of like peek online and see who vibes with you. I mean, we put our portfolios up there as well. So if you don't know who we are, you can get a sense of our style, and you can match both what you can afford with what you like visually and who you think you connect with.
Okay, so the thing is that
so we do also do furnishings. So we do, like you asked about the question about do we order furniture and stuff. We order furniture sometimes for these clients. We do a lot of custom treatments, like a lot of custom framing for photographs, custom window treatments, custom upholstery. So we do work with the client in that way, but maybe they've already got a sofa, but they want their ottoman recovered and a chair, and they want an area rug. Right?
Okay, I'm understanding it. All right, okay, so Jenna, tell us a little bit about In the Weeds on, you are mostly doing e-design, and you are teaching designers to do e-design. So on one level, that's sort of, what the expert is talking about, except that you are, do I recall from our interview on the show, where you're actually sending them the mood board and the shopping list and encouraging your designers to make additional revenue through the affiliate links in making the purchases? Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so let's start at the beginning with what is e-design? Because I think that needs to be defined first. E-design is simply electronic design. It's a form of communication. It's how are you communicating with that end user? And that is through renders, through concept boards, through Zoom meetings. It's simply just not sitting next to that person in the same room. So that's really what e-design means. And I think a lot of people probably sitting in the audience right now are doing this in some format right now, and they might not even know it. So I think a lot of us are designers, but we have this stigma that was set years ago as a negative thing. I think the expert is elevating that, which is a really positive thing for the industry, and I'm happy to see that. So thank you for doing that. But what I do is I get bored doing the same projects. So I am not a cookie cutter type of designer. I like to come up with new strategies and different techniques. And this is what I teach people through eDesign U and also through my platform, the eDesign platform, which is under the eDesign Tribe umbrella. So we do rendering, we do conceptual renderings, which has been really popular due to COVID, because I don't want to order anything right now. I don't want to track orders. I don't want to look for where product is. I don't want to deal with price increases. I just had a baby 6 months ago, and I have a 5-year-old. I'm sorry, but I have other things to do with my time. So I don't have a large team for that part of my business because I'm doing all of the other things for the other designers. So personally, that is not something that I want to do in my business. So what I do is renders that I share with my client, and I say, here's the concept. Sometimes if it's like a wallpaper or a pillow, I will include an affiliate link for them to purchase that on their own. And I'll say, here it is, it's in stock. I'd order that sucker now because that's not going to be in stock for very long. And you might get a little extra on top of it, but I really try to include in my service cost, which are a little bit higher in fees than traditional, I don't want to say traditional e-designers, but those that are working for the big box e-design, if you will, I charge more because my time is worth it and because I'm not making money on product. So I do more conceptual renders versus what you might see with like 2D concept boards that are done in like Photoshop or PowerPoint or something like that. I also like to work with builders recently. I'm building our second house in the past 2 years right now. And this is something that I've really enjoyed doing, especially due to the demand with COVID, where nothing's in stock. So I do flat lays for these builders, and it has really helped them to simplify their process with pre-made flat lay boards that we know that tile selections are going to be in stock, flooring selections are going to be in stock, and it helps new build homeowners to create, to make their selections, and then the builders know exactly what they're going to be purchasing, and it streamlines their process as well. So that was a loaded answer. Sorry.
Okay. No. Perfectly good. We want to get into the weeds and understand it all, right? So now my question is, what if I push back a little? All right. And I just played a little devil's advocate here. And I said, love it, love it, love it. It all sounds great. But my brain, and I'm prepared for you to school me. Okay, I'm hoping and I'm expecting that you're going to school me, because what I'm hearing in my brain is that to some extent this is not scalable. You know, as many hours as you show up and you transfer money for time on the expert or your designer by your side for the day, you have to be there for that. So it's not and so is there scalability, or that's not the point? The point is the relationship and it's a revenue, a lead gen for your design business. So take it from your standpoint, Bregan.
I mean, a version of the answer to your question is like, I spend time on the road, and I can do this from my hotel room for a half an hour, and I can back to back it with 5 different people. If I went through the onboarding process of finding a client, which is honestly like emails, phone calls, tags, scheduling that first phone call, I don't touch as many people as I can through the expert. And they've taken out the business side, like Jenna, what you do and going after it yourself and building the infrastructure. I think as designers, a lot of us are business owners, and it is hard to build a business. So for me, not having to take on that part of touching more people made it a lot easier for me to touch more people. So yeah, I mean,
that's, you know what, and it's so, as soon as you said it, I was expecting to be schooled. I was. And it's a unique position that she's in, right? You are on the road, traveling, doing appearances, doing the TV show, and here you are, the 4 or 5 hours in the hotel is now a revenue generator instead of downtime away from your business.
I also famously don't sleep much, so like I love the 5 a.m.s and 6 a.m.s and the late at nights that I can do based on different time zones.
Okay. And how about you, Claire, when we talk about,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, initially, this was something that I was really doing at the start of my business. And I don't know, you may have heard, I don't know if you've heard this story, Luann, but it's interesting as Jenna was talking about builders, because that's actually how I started this service. Because in Canada, we have Brian Baumler on HGTV, if anyone's familiar with Brian Baumler. I don't know if he crosses over here. Anyway, so one of my clients happened to be his marketing expert. And I was redesigning their basement at the time with a very basic program called Icovia, which now I can't even believe, like, if anyone knows that old program. And so they basically, once I did my thing for them in his own family basement, he said, I work, my cousin is Brian Baumler, and he's like, we needed a couple of designers. And so they basically hired me, the client would hire me, but they had to come through me first to get a design. So we did so many 3D renderings for main floors, second story basements. Like it was really chugging it through. And, if you price it properly, right? And, you can do very well. My slides are here. We won't start going through the slides. I did add some slides. It's okay, because I don't know what order they're in. So, but, so it's not as scalable, obviously, as selling furniture, when you can make that money on furniture that you sell or cabinetry and stuff like that. However, you can make a good living. And sadly, a lot of designers, I'm sure that you coach too or start talking to, really aren't making enough money in this business. And so if I say, like, you could make $75,000 a year easily without selling furniture and consulting over, working about 40 hours a week, like actual working, you got to market yourself as well. The only thing with my kind of service that I'm sharing here is that you got to keep feeding the funnel, right? So you don't just work with 3 clients and their massive projects. You've got to keep feeding this funnel and keep marketing yourself, which you, as Lou talked about this morning in the DMM Lounge, you always got to keep marketing anyway. So that synergy with the builder that Jenna's talking about, really came in handy. And then I realized that the builder then asked me to, I'm like, can I pick the finishes for these clients too? Because the renders were just for concept. I'm just showing you what your house will look like with the wall knocked down between the kitchen and the living room. How big can your island be, and all of that stuff. And then they were like, yeah. So then I would help the client, and they would pay me and I have a designer for a day service that I offered for that, and that spun off of that. And so it was a really great. If you can get in with builders, for me, it's been great. And just lastly on that, you can also hire someone. Like right now I have my student back at home, and I pay her, she's a third-year design student. I pay her $20 an hour. She's learning tons. Been with me for 2 years. So if I can charge X amount for something, like if I'm charging $4,000 and she's billing me like $800, I still have to have my fingers in the pies. I oversee it all, but my time I'm not spending nearly as much time as if I was doing it myself. So, something.
Right. So somewhere in your answer is a little of both. To some extent, it's not very scalable, and $75,000 or $100,000 is nothing to shake a stick at, right? I mean, that's a decent wage and a decent thing. But many in the audience aspire to make 3 and 4 times that, and so there is that limit, okay, that you can reach with that model at some point. Okay. Jenna, how about you? Do we have scalability issues with the way that you are doing your design, or you're going to teach me something new too?
I just need to bring on more people on my team. And then the sky's the limit, honestly. The scalability is just bringing on more VAs. That's what it comes down to. The more people that I can bring on to do more conceptual renders or more shop the look boards, more additional revenue streams through passive income, doing it that way, then yeah, the sky's the limit, honestly.
Okay, and so it's an easy answer for you, Jenna, because I happen to know you, and I happen to know what a strong leader you are and a strong business owner that this woman is. Literally has the back end on lockdown. So some of us that may not be as strong a leader or as tightened up business owner, just adding more VAs could just be adding more chaos. So these are some of the little stumbling blocks. And that's where I want to go now, Bregan. Is there anything that you would say, love, 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 expert, wish this, or lesson here? Like something that maybe surprised you in your experience with it, that challenged you, that maybe, you know what I'm saying? Or just, everything isn't always roses. So we're with people, we're with friends. Let's talk.
Hi, friends. Hi, people. Sometimes you guys throw a lot of curveballs at me, and you expect me to know the answer, and I'm on Zoom, and I'm like, they've just hired the expert, and I got to think about that question for a second. So there is some immediacy and pressure. Also, just like, as fun as it is to do these things virtually, you still got to remember to put your hair and makeup on and sit down in front of the computer and have Wi-Fi and have plugged it in and be prepared for your meetings. Sometimes being so reachable can feel a little, inundating of your own world. So you have to set your own boundaries. I think when we started early on, I was like, I'm available all the time, and here's a ton of hours. And actually, the expert came to me and was like, you're not as, it doesn't seem cool that you're available all the time. And I was like, but I don't sleep, and I am. So you always learn when you start something new.
So I love that. It's what I heard in there is, even though it's virtual and even though you know what you're doing, it's still taking it serious and showing up as serious and as prepared as you would if you were meeting somebody in person in LA, walking into Bel Air and knocking on somebody's door, right? It's the respect for the other side, because stuff is always going to happen tech-wise, but if you've got as much as you can lockdown,
yeah.
Right?
And sometimes it's harder when you have a kid knocking on the door and you're like, they've paid a lot of money for this hour. Go away. Love you.
Exactly. Okay. Claire, how about you? Learning lessons, pitfalls, things to believe. It's great. Not but. We don't like buts, but and look out for this.
Okay, so I'm glad you asked this because it was quite funny because the lady that I was coaching once, and when she was saying she's used the designer by your side, she said, it kind of feels like foreplay without the sex. And I was like,
Leave it to Claire.
Can I? Sorry. Well, you know. And so that's the thing, right? Like, you may not get that result. You may not get that orgasm. Can I say? Can I say that? You know? So I just did. So that's the thing, right? So you go and they're not going to do everything that you suggest. We just had a situation with kitchen cabinetry, and I got a call from the kitchen company saying, hey, they switched out the hardware. We picked it 6 weeks ago. Why did you switch out the hardware? Like, so it's a little frustrating. That can be frustrating, but it's not to say that you can't get portfolio pictures. I get asked this a lot. You know, if we've done the design, we've done the, designer by your side or designer for a day, and we've picked all of the finishes, all of the paint colors. We could still go in and get photos there. We can, just because I didn't manage it, I didn't do all that stuff that gives me all the headaches, so that is the downside, is that you might not get that final photo because the client goes rogue and you only have so much graph. So there's nothing quite like the full service when you present something and they say, I love it all, here's the check, go do it.
Okay. So it sounds like you almost have to be prepared to detach yourself a tiny bit emotionally from the end result, right? It's like, we're doing a job here, we're getting it done, this is an alternative revenue stream, I've got my love over here, a full service, and I'll leave all of my emotion all wrapped up into that. Okay, good warning. Jenna, how about some telltale warning things? Make us look out for that bump in the road. What would you say?
One of them is same as Claire. We never get to see the final stuff. I mean, very rarely. Some designers do, but a lot of the time they go rogue and they check out home goods, or their sister-in-law comes over and it's like, okay, you made some weird choices in the end and you don't get those final choices, the final pictures. But that's why we have gorgeous renders that we can share on social media, because that was our vision. And we can say, this is what the intention was. And those are marketing tools for us. Just today, I posted a reel about that. And within half an hour, I got an inquiry on my website from that reel. So, I mean, those are marketing tools for you. So you don't need the final look, right? But it is a downside for some designers that are stuck on that and are addicted to the final photography. But it's not a necessity when you have photorealistic imagery. So yeah, that is probably the biggest downfall, that and broken links on your blog. Those are annoying, so hire somebody.
Yeah. So again, I said it's detaching from the emotion, but it's also starting with your why. Right? In every single thing we do in business, we want to start with, why am I doing this? So for Bregan, why am I on the Expert when I have got, luxury clients in LA and I have a TV show and all the things? But you know what? She said she doesn't sleep and she loves to design. So why not, right? But that's the thing. You have your why. Each of you have your why, and you've got clarity on why you're doing it, in which case you can disassociate from the parts that maybe aren't so what we would think of in the design industry as the juice, right? Okay, so I would love to know if you guys have any specific questions for these ladies in picking apart each of their revenue streams, on the how they do it, maybe the why they do it, or some results that they get from doing it. Oh, okay, we have lots of hands. Okay, yay.
Thank you so much. It's been great so far. The question I have probably applies to everybody, but do you think that you're leaving money on the table, or that you're maybe upsetting existing clients by offering like a lower tiered service when they've paid for more?
So if I can answer that. So one of the things that I love about having these different services, whether it's consulting only, designer for a day, designer by your side, or full service, is when you get that call from the potential client and, maybe they give you a little hint. They give you little hints, right, on the call. And, so if I get a hint that a client doesn't want full service, I say if you get full service, we're married. And we're happily married, but you're married to me, and we're taking care of all the details for you, right? And so, but if I kind of get the inkling that they're like, I love Restoration Hardware or I love HomeSense, then I'm like, you know what? You might be better for the designer by your side. So I can very clear, and also with their investment. I mean, one room design for us is $8,000 for just our services and a minimum of $20,000 to $25,000. Or you've got designer by your side, which starts at $4,000 at 20 hours. Designer for a day is $225 at 6 hours, Lou, $1,200 or so. And my consultation is $800 for 2 hours. So even just to get entry into the door, not as much as on the expert, I don't think, right? Yeah. But so it's a good question, and and that's why I always say, like, you do you, and works what works for you at the time, right? And especially with COVID, with all of this that's been happening, it is a headache, like Jenna said, like all of these furniture delays, and like it's just nice when I can go in and go out and I'm done, right?
So, but she was talking about how do you handle it with other clients? Is there, sort of a thing there? So, I mean, that's okay. No, it's all valid information.
I don't think my other clients have an issue with that. I mean,
you want to price it according to what your other clients are also paying. You know what I mean? You have to be fair to everybody, and you also have to know your worth and where that's at for you. And then you build it into something, even if it's new, even if you're learning. Start out where your other clients won't be offended.
And also, too, I mean, it just occurs to me, and I don't do it for a living, but I'm just saying, you're not giving these ladders of services that they're discussing are not the full service. It's like walking in, me and my restaurants, right? You can walk into STK and you can say, give me the entire thing. Give me appetizer, give me the potatoes, the spinach, the steak, the dessert, the wine. Or you could say, I'll take a steak and a potato. Like, this is what they're doing. They're slicing out their availability, is what I'm hearing. You're slicing out your availability. And when somebody wants more, they get more and they pay more. Right.
And if you're working with a client who really loves you, you often get that question of like, oh, my friend's painting her house right now, and she wants to ask you what color, but they don't necessarily need an interior designer. This is a great way for your real clients to go, oh, I think she's got a profile. Go talk to her for half an hour.
Jenna, do you have this in what you do? Any situation with other clients? I mean, or are they all the e-design, so there's not different levels?
Oh, there's different levels. So on my, I have a signature services on my website. It's a suggestion page. So it's basically like just starting out, and it's giving them ideas of how we can collaborate together. So I actually bumped up to the top, and I said this was like the hottest service of 2021, and it's a render service with suggested concepts, and it's like no procurement, no actual links to products. It's just a render of the actual space. And I did it most recently for a past client that was doing an Airbnb that came back, that wanted to renovate the Airbnb, but just wanted the concept. She was going to get everything herself. She just wanted to see my ideas for how it could potentially look, and that was it. And so, like, she didn't know exactly what service that was going to be, and I didn't list it on my site. But the more we talked, we came up with a custom option. So nobody really knows where to start, but it starts the conversation, and then they message me through the site, and then we figure out what's right for them.
Sounds good. We had some other questions back here. Oh, here we go. And we have some over here, too.
For you, Bregan, regarding utilizing the expert, what percentage of those consulting hours turns into a full-blown project?
I've been surprised that more haven't. But I think it's also indicative of how useful the service has been, and also how much people actually go on and leave reviews. I'm always surprised. Like, I did a great consultation the other day with a dentist building a full office. So she was based out of Texas. She had renderings. She knew what she wanted to do, but she didn't have that design element, and she really just needed an hour with a designer who wasn't financially attached to her project. who she could trust. And that wasn't the appropriate place for me to come in and build, out her as a client. But I really walked away from that and was like, I feel like I helped her. And then she went on and was like, Breegan's so helpful. And so I think when we're able to give of ourselves without holding back, I don't know if you've ever had the clients that you go and you really want the job and you pitch it, and then a week later you drive by, they never hired you, and you're like, I told them to put the plants there, and now the plants are there, and no one ever paid me for it. It allows me to show up as my authentic self without any attachment to them needing to hire me.
Love it. Love it. Okay. I know we have questions over here. I know Miss Jane Dagny has a question, so we have to make sure we get to that.
Shout out to Jane.
Where are you?
I have a simple question, but I think it's kind of deep. How do you say no?
Is you asking you how you say no? Or just,
No.
I was going to say.
I understand.
this is not a good fit.
You
No.
start the consultation, and at first it feels great. We all love what we do. And then as you get deeper into the conversation, start building that rapport, you realize, oh, I don't think this is a fit. How do you then turn around and say, you know what, I don't think this is a good idea?
Yeah.
Jenna, you want to take that one? Can Jenna hear the questions?
I can hear him.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten that far, honestly, where it hasn't been a good fit. We do preliminary questions, and before we get there, we make sure that it's a good fit before it gets too far.
So
Does that make sense?
Yes. So do you guys, because I have an answer, but you guys.
No, you go.
I mean, I was just like, if it's not a good fit, I'm pretty open and honest with people, and we'll get to the end of the consult, and I'll be like, you know what, I just don't know that this is going to work. I think that maybe I'm not what you're looking for, and I'm just really pretty open about it. And the thing is that I kind of know that on the discovery call a lot of times because of the questions you ask. Like I said, timelines. Are you working with a contractor? Have you worked with a designer before? What's your investment amount? Like those are all really good triggers of like figuring out where they're coming from and if they are going to be a good fit for you. But yeah, I would love to hear.
You want me to go? Okay. No, it's building on this. And I'm glad that you brought up, Claire, that you sort of sometimes have a feeling already on the discovery call. Because my experience in talking with you when you're down in the trenches in your business is that you have already ignored the red flag multiple times. By the time it's uncomfortable to say, I don't think we're a good fit, it's because you've ignored it multiple times. Is that 100% of the time? No. Okay. Well, there was this one time that I thought it was going to be amazing. It's the 80-20 rule in business. 80% of the things that you learn in business that anybody teaches you, whether it's me or Breegan or Claire or Jenna, it's going to work for you 80% of the time. There's 20% of the time it's not going to work. But 80% of the time, I promise you, you've had the red flag and you kept ignoring it, and now it's a thing to say no, all right? But you still have to strap on your courage and say no at that moment because you think it's a hard thing at that moment to say no, I don't want to start. When you know you shouldn't, wait till you've started and then get out of it because it is going wrong, because you knew it was going to. So, and of course, respect, always respect. And don't make up reasons that people can get around, right? So the reason is, I've been thinking about this. There's parts of this project that we are in opposition, that we are not in agreement with. You deserve, and I deserve, to be in this long-term relationship, because that's what this is, interior design, with a partner that we're on the same page. I want that for you. I won't do it less for myself. I want it for you, right? But you got to strap on that courage, okay? All right, questions? Jane, we got to get Jane, celebrity. This is the editor of Designers Today magazine, so if you ever wanted to be in print, go hound her when you're done. No.
Thank you, Luann. Thank you. It's good to see you all. I have a question about this is for probably mostly Breegan and Claire. do you do pre-work for the expert? I mean, are you seeing these images for the first time, these floor plans right there when the clock starts ticking? Or that's one question. Do you ever like go, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't say that, and want to like add something, but then, you know, that could be the next start of the next hour, right? Do you follow up? Does the expert follow up on your behalf and say, how was your hour with Brig and Jane? Would you like to book another? So a little bit about advanced work, you know, studying a little bit, and then follow up.
So I've had both consultations. One where they've just booked me, I have their name, I have the link, and I have zero information on what room we're doing, what they're gonna ask me, where they're located, but they have requested my time and I am available for them. We're going in blind at that point, and I'm usually asking them to switch to a mobile phone or to really just take me through what they want me to do for that hour. Hi, you booked me. What do you want from me so that I can then deliver on it? All my talks with you are great prep for that. And then I have other ones, they have an upload system where they come with full floor plans, their exact question, exactly what they want to know. And I'm a homework person to begin with, so if it's there, I do use it and I have it printed out and I know where you are, and I'm a little bit of a nerd that way. There is a message system that they use through the expert, at least for me, on the back end, which is really nice. Whether or not they're spying on me and asking everyone, I'm not sure, but I do know that with the expert, the more reviews you get, the more positive reviews you get, the more visibility you get on their platform. So they do reward those who are getting good feedback.
Good questions, Jane.
And so I'll just say on that, Jane, that so for us, I don't do a ton of homework, but we do have an onboarding system I have on my website that as soon as someone books the, like once we've had a discovery call, we have templated emails that we just change out their name, change out the date, and then we send them a link to the questionnaire, which is on my website. They fill that out, and then they would send us through some photos. Now, I literally, I'm kind of like on the way out the door going, what are their kids' names? Okay, I see their kitchen. Okay, I get it. And I close. Like, I'm not spending, at first I did. At first I was, because I was new and I really wanted to be, I still want to be super prepared, but I'm just more experienced now. So the pre-work is not crazy because of the onboarding system that we have in place. But I do want the client to know that when I get there, the first thing I do at the consult is review the folder that I bring, and I talk about my services, and I have their questionnaire, because there's nothing worse than someone that says, can you fill this out, and then they never refer to it or mention it. And then I know she asked a question. Sorry, you're the moderator.
No. I mean, and the thing is, I know Claire very well, right? She was one of the co-authors in my Power Talk Friday books. And the thing is, what I know, and she kind of glossed by it, don't miss that. Her process, but from coming into her business, by the time she shows up at your house, you're not getting through the process where the expert is sometimes letting somebody get all the way to Brig and they haven't provided all of that information. She just said, sometimes I have to show up, I don't know what's there. But that doesn't happen with Claire. You don't get from A to B to C. You can't go from A to E. Okay, she's very process driven. She teaches other designers how to be process driven. She has templates and worksheets and things that you can buy to be process driven like her, you know, all the things. Okay, I don't know how much time we have. We have enough. Olivia, if we have another question, do you want it? We have 5 minutes. 5 minutes, count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, question.
Hello. So I have a question on the 20. I would love, in the 80-20 rule, we all learn from our mistakes. Can you guys, in each one of your fields and the opportunities that you use for different revenue streams, can you share with us a bad experience or a mistake that you made where you were like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, and I feel like I'm really need to go back and fix that with that particular client, because obviously these are new, different streams of revenue. So how can you educate us with a mistake you guys made so that we don't make it?
Right here on the stage in front of everybody. Tell them your mistakes. Jenna? You need to think of one.
I need to think of one. It's been so long. No, I'm just kidding. I really do. It's been a while.
All right,
since,
you think on it. We'll see if Claire.
So streamlined.
Yeah, no, she's another one. It's like, but look, we all make mistakes. So go ahead. You have something to share?
I think growth is hard. And I think one of the things I didn't let go of very early on as I got a busier and busier schedule was really delegate and let go of some of my clients and still want to service other people. And so the expert for me is a way that I can still be the designer that I love to be, but I don't and can't always do full home. I used to be able to do this many, now I can only do this many. And it's hard to change. But every time I do, I'm like, why didn't I do that 6 months ago? Why didn't I do that a year ago? But yeah, change.
It's the affliction of entrepreneurship, right? We can do it, we can do it, we can do it. We'll just work another hour, another minute, another week, and we'll get it done. So the lesson here is to recognize when you're at capacity and maybe your business is taking a little twist, a little turn, and to look at it head fast, straight on, and make the adjustment. Go ahead, Claire.
So I would say underestimating the time that it takes to do things. I think we all do that, right? And so when I first started this, I was like, I'll do 5 hours, which I mentioned earlier, right? 5 hours. And 5 hours, you got no time. Like, it's really no time. I was like measuring a room, and then I was going to go I'm sourcing fabric, and I was getting my guy to come and do the measure. And I'm like, and then I told the woman, well, you got like half an hour left. And she was angry, so angry. And of course she was, because she was the client initially anyway that only wanted to pay for 5 or 10 hours, but wanted more. So again, when you up your rates, and you get really clear on your services, then you do get better clients. But we always underestimate how long it takes to do anything, whether it's upload an Instagram reel, right?
100% true. Jenna, did you come up with one?
Oh, I got 2 for you. Okay. So boundaries. Number 1, I used to work every single weekend, every single night, and it was just burnout central. So I now, I only work weekends if I'm feeling inspired, and that's when I make reels with my daughter, because it's like fun for us to do that together. So that's like our time. So setting those expectations with clients from the get-go. I don't work nights. I don't work weekends. This is when I'm available to you. This is when I check my email. And then the second one is undervaluing e-design, thinking that it's not the same amount of work just because you're doing it from home. It's the same amount of work. You're just calling it something different because you're sitting at your house and you're not traveling in your car some days.
Love it. Love it. Okay, we're getting the cane. Oh, we have one more question? Okay.
Also, I'm happy to hang out for a little bit. If you guys missed us, we'll be over here for a bit.
For those of us who have been designers for a long time and looking to change things up and wanting to get more into the world of e-design and getting out of the going to client homes and doing the entire procurement process and, the whole, old-fashioned route of design, seeing this can be a little overwhelming because it's like starting from scratch. So, what would you say is the easiest way to get started for anyone, whether you're a rookie or whether you have 25 years experience?
Well, one thing I would say is if you're interested in e-design Tribe, Jenna has a whole Facebook group, e-design Tribe, which you could join. I think you're probably also underestimating what the value that you bring already and what you do, that now you're just wanting to pull back, right? So if you have your processes in place or processes, if you have your systems in place and you know how you work, then you're just scaling back, and now you don't have to deal with ordering furniture or dealing with the trades and all of that stuff. You're literally going back to the consulting of it, right? And the 2-hour consultation, and then what does that lead to? It's so much easier, to be honest. Like, it's still hard work. I'm not going to say it's not. And what the value that you bring in terms of how much money we save clients all the time. We're saving people so much money. We're in their homes with their biggest investment. I just don't underestimate what you already do in that consulting. I think sometimes people think, well, it's just consulting. I'm just answering a few questions.
Well, that's the superpower part.
Yeah.
Not placing an order for a sofa. It's figuring out which sofa should be placed. That's the superpower part that you bring to the table, right? Do you have any advice for her?
Put it on the internet. your past projects, the things you're proud of, and then hire for the things you're not good at, you know? If I had to chase what algorithm came out this week and what hashtags and sounds are trending, I can't design. But I hire somebody to help me with the parts that feel uncomfortable to me and that I'm not good at. But don't be afraid to just put yourself out there. I feel like people just wait and wait and wait, and they're like, but I'm waiting for the best content, or I'm waiting, or is this worthy? And it's like, no, you have your talent. You've been doing this for years. Let us all know so we can find it.
All righty. Anything to add to that, Jenna?
Love those answers. And this is the best situation to be in. Honestly, you have years of experience that you can already bank on. It's just take your knowledge, take those years of experience, streamline that process. This is like my favorite call to have with my mentees, because we get to talk about how you can take that and put it online and work virtually. So just take your expertise and put it online.
I love it. Well, I have to say, thank you so much, everyone, for showing up and sharing this last hour with us, and for your great questions. And thank you to you ladies, rock stars. So privileged that I know all of you personally and that you've shared your goodness on the show. So thanks, guys.
Thank you, Luann.
Thank you.